Put your tool bag back in the van, grab your calculator. We're not starting. Welcome to Simplified Sparky Marketing. Never ever start works without quoting the job up front. For context on this, I had a post on Instagram, which I'll link below in the description, a few weeks ago, and I got quite a bit of traction, quite a few questions, quite a few people resonating with this. So I said I'd do a bit of a longer rendition of this on the podcast. And for context, the backstory, there's a lady that I did a lot of work for in her apartment. There was probably 2 or 3 times I've gone out to this lady. So she happened to refer me to her father, and he called up. The receptionist took the call and requested photos and information on the job. So got the information, and then he said, you know what, don't worry about, look, you don't need photos. Just come out, do the job. That's not a problem. Just come out and do the works. I got an email from the receptionist saying, look, he just wants you to do the work. And I was like, no, I'm not fucking doing that. I was like, we have the scope of works. I had his email. So what I did was I went and looked at the scope of works. It was all very basic works. Like, I've got all these pre-built in the system anyway, using bundle pricing, and went through it. It was a relatively small amount of work to do. So there was a few power points to replace, a smoke alarm. There was something else, and I can't remember off the top of my head. So I quoted it. I said, right, bang, 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 pumped out the quote in a couple of minutes and just sent it across. He replied and he said, don't worry about doing the works. You're far too expensive. And I was like, I fucking knew this would happen. It's always the people that are like, just do the work. Don't worry about it. What they perceive as the price that they're going to pay is definitely not what they're going to pay. And yes, these tasks and stuff were relatively easy and simple to do. For somebody that's been doing it nearly fucking 20 years, it's going to be quick. People look at it and go, it's just a PowerPoint. It's a couple of bucks. It'll take them 2 minutes. That's an extra couple of bucks. And they don't see the cost of operations and the business running costs and the wages and everything that goes into the business that's costing a lot of money to run. They don't see that. And it's always those people that are like, just do the work. It's fine. Are the people that are going to whinge at the end of the job. And even though I'd already worked for his daughter, who was fantastic, I was like, no, I'm not taking that risk. And I'm glad I didn't. But to add a twist in this, he ended up calling back about 2 months later. And he was like, can you come out and do the job, or can we get the job done? So the receptionist came back to me. I was like, I had kind of a bad feel. I was like, I don't really want to work for him now because he's already after saying no. But I was like, you know what? It's been quoted. The air is cleared. I'll go do it, whatever. So about 2 weeks ago, I actually did the job. And the guy was a classic. I got there and he had pulled out a ladder already and he had a battery waiting on it to replace for his smoke alarm. I was like, here we go. Just trying to cut costs wherever you can. So that was fine. Swapped over his battery. And then lo and behold, the list was whittled down. So it ended up just 2 light switch replacements. And I did those. And he was just odd and standoffish during the job. It wasn't a nice environment to work in, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, of that kind of client where there's a bit of tension in the air. Like I was just happy. I was just trying to chat to him and stuff like that, but he was very cold, and I was like, this is why I quote and just eliminate people and qualify before I work for them. But fair is fair. I'd quoted and he said to go ahead, so it was double edge. So that was fine. And at one stage he wanted a PowerPoint replaced for a range hood, and the range hood was gone. It looked like with some time, and I think the PowerPoint was just damaged from all the heat coming up off the cooking. So to kind of top him off as a classic, I had a PowerPoint ready to go, and he was like, oh, do you think we should just blank that off? Would it be cheaper? And like, I had the PowerPoint there ready to go, and as a Sparky, and if you're a Sparky, you'll know it'll take you 30 seconds less to replace a PowerPoint. So now I was like, yes, it will be cheaper to put a blank plate in it. But I actually had to go back out to the truck, get a blank plate, get connectors, and put that all back together. So it actually, in time-wise, it probably would have been cheaper for me to just put on the PowerPoint. But I was like, no, I'm not giving you the PowerPoint for cheaper. The lessons here are always quote before you start, even if it's an existing client. Now, the exception for this, I will give an exception. If you price with bundle pricing like I do, so if you've got a set price for stuff, if your downlight is this much, replacing a cooker is that much, if your PowerPoints are X to replace, whatever, you've quoted the job and you've got 6 PowerPoints, 8 downlights, something like that, and they say, you know what, can you replace or can you install 2 more downlights over there? It's very transparent with that pricing of what additional cost there's going to be. So if they see 6 by X amount, and they know it's going to be, they're going to end up with 8 downlights, it's going to be 8 by X amount. It's very obvious, very clear. So they can't turn around at the end and go, oh my God, I didn't think it was going to be that much. Well, it's fucking obvious if you look at the invoice. So that's my exception. I do that. Like if someone asks me for something extra, I'll just do it. I'm not going to fucking sit here and bullshit you and be like, oh no, you have to do this with every single thing. I'm fucking real. And like, there's situations where you do the works and don't quote. And that's one prime example. But it is within your best interest for your business to just avoid people kicking off, people not paying the invoice, to quote everything up front where possible. If you want more stuff like this to help your electrical business, there is links in the description. I can't stress that you're leaving money on the table by not getting this stuff. See you next time.